for you guys watching the stream, here we are with TheViper versus Nicov, best of 3, lower bracket here for the semi-finals of the Escape Gaming Masters. I'm joined once again by T90 and Nilpford, and I'll let T90 introduce the players, and then Nilpford is going to talk about the civilizations.
All right, in the blue again, we have Viper. This is game 3, so this is so important for these players. Viper's playing as the Indians, and Nilly will touch on this civilization in a second. In the red, we have Nicov, and you can see this map is very open. Nilly, what do you think of the map, and what do you think of the civs involved here?
Yeah, T90, you basically nailed it before when we introduced the map. Kilimanjaro, very open, no big wood lines, so you have to go for civilizations which are very strong in the early game. We saw Malay band, Burmese band, Vietnamese band, so those are off the table. And now we are looking into civilizations which are still very strong at the start. Indians, cheaper villages at the start, and the bonus keeps getting bigger and bigger when you advance the ages. On the other side, we have Ethiopia. They are, very strong when it comes to archers, firing faster, and getting 100 food, 100 gold when you're up in the times. That's good for either going archers and you have 2 extra archers and fletching, or M&A, basically 3 M&A upgrade and an archer. So you can do some serious pressure here early on.
Yeah, I do feel like both of these civs, actually, although they're not maybe the first choice for this map, they certainly do work very well with early game pressure. The Viper could do a faster feudal time thanks to saving 5 food on every single villager through the Dark Age. And obviously, as you said, that will increase as the game goes on. By the time he reaches castle, he's able to boom and rush as well if he wants to. It's all about managing that economy, but that bonus stacks and it's a really strong one. As you said about the Ethiopians, the extra food and gold, that does allow them to put on some early game pressure once they hit the feudal age. And obviously we can see how it goes as the game goes on, but with a map like this, it's probably not such a good idea to speculate about what will happen in the castle age, because it could all be over by feudal just because of how aggressive it forces players to be. Maybe T90, you can have a look at Viper's map and we can talk a bit more about that.
Yeah, actually, I was looking at Nicov, so I'll go right over to Vipers. I noticed that Nicov placed his lumber camp right next to his fruit bushes, which are the berries in AOC. I wonder if he recognized those were his berries? I don't know, because that's a really bad lumber camp in my opinion. His villagers have to run around the berries now. It's going to be harder for him to collect the berries as well. He does have more wood, Nicov, than Viper, and I'll go over to Viper's base now. He has that one wood line he's on. Apart from that, he has maybe 6 trees that are not underneath his TC. It's insane.
Yeah, it's horrendous. I mean, this is the thing about this map. It forces players towards the center. Because although, yes, there are some small wood lines around the edge, and maybe it's worth taking them in the earlier stages, eventually players will be forced towards this center area where you have these wood lines. The big downside to this, of course, is although, yes, there is a lot of wood and it's more reliable to gather wood, it's not good when your opponent's sitting archers on this hill. They have an attack bonus on your villagers gathering, and it's very difficult to defend. So this map, like we said, really forces that aggression. I would say, though, about Viper's map, he could potentially wall a little bit if he likes. He's got this like weird pond at the front, which kind of makes a natural wall off, and we see him building a house wall diagonally here, or vertically, I guess, actually. I guess it depends on how you consider the perspective of AoE. It's weird. But yeah, that could actually help him to secure the right side of his base here.
Yeah, the hills in the middle are going to be important, and that wood's going to be important. So as players attack and as they win fights, they're probably going to want to push forward. But you don't want to do that too early, obviously, because you can lose those units. But we're only 6 minutes and 40 seconds in right now. So it's obviously going to be very difficult for them to hold on to these wood lines as they chop through them. I think we need to think about what the players will do. It's a lot easier for Zach and I to know what they're going to do once they hit like the 21 vil mark, because there's no barracks right. Nope, Nikov's going for one.
Well, as you say that, it is 21 vil, well, 21 population mark. So
Yeah.
the barracks from Nicov, this surely to me is going to be man-at-arms, I feel. He's looking to get to the feudal age quickly, hence all of these zebra that are underneath his TC. And of course, he's prioritizing those guys because they gather a little faster than the goats, which just means he's going to be able to get that food in that much quicker and allow him to click to the feudal age. Doing loom now, he'll click up directly afterwards after he force drops this food off, and he's 7 food short, 5 food short. Nicov, there we go.
This is a
click
theme.
Up now.
This is a theme for Nicov, isn't it?
Happened last game as
guys,
well.
I will touch on this. I know we have a lot of people watching the stream right now that maybe have not seen Age of Empires ever or in a long time. So as this is the expansions, the zebras are the deer equivalent, if you're familiar with Age of Conquerors, and the elephants you saw running around, they are the equivalent to boars. Beyond that, we'll try and do our best. We're doing a great job at explaining things. Viper's building that barracks now, and he hasn't collected any gold. I wonder what his plan is. Maybe scouts, just because they're a little bit faster and they can run across the map.
Yeah,
faster than man-at-arms.
I think Indians are actually a great scout rush civ, because obviously once they hit feudal as well, their villages are going to be cheaper still. I think it's wait, how much are their villages costing in the?
I believe it's. I could be wrong. Casters are people too, guys. But I think it's 10% in the feudal age. 15% in the castle age, and it continues to be cheaper. So that's huge. I think that's why Viper wants that. Any eco bonus that is attached to a civilization is great for top players. Well, anybody, but top players can utilize that. Viper went for the cheaper villagers. Nicov went for that resource boost. And I actually want to point this out. He hasn't collected any gold, which is what you would normally do to get the man-at-arms upgrade. But just like Nilly said earlier, which was excellent analysis, he recognizes he's going to get those resources. He will click man-at-arms now, and they're on their way.
Yeah, that's Nicov there actually playing to his civilization's strength. And I think that's nice because a lot of these players, you know, they're very new to these civs because they've played on the Conquerors and the Age of Kings for so long. They've not really picked up and played these expansions too much. But you were totally right. Viper, of course, here throwing down the stable as Nicov comes in with the militia. It's a great timing for Nicov. The villagers are trapped outside and the man-at-arms upgrade comes in. Viper here losing some gathering time and potentially could lose a villager as he runs towards the TC. He's going to get it.
That was huge. That was huge for Nicov. I can't believe he came in at the perfect time. Viper recognized that, but not fast enough. In fact, he did place the house and he would have beat the man-at-arms, but Nicov sent his scout over top of that house placement so it wouldn't go up. Viper now with his exposed map has to deal with this, and he has to mass scouts before he can fight as well. So this is going to be really hard for Viper.
So Viper adding in a spearman to help deal with the scout from Nicov, and then he's making his own scouts now. But scouts and men-at-arms are quite evenly matched in the feudal age. Viper will have to fall back, as you said, and kind of group his scouts together before taking the fight. He has, however, got 4 scouts now, and the spearman, and he's going to catch Nikov's scout out of position. So this should give the Viper the tools he needs to push this aggression back. But that was a good win, in my opinion, for Nicov. He's pushed Viper off berries for a while, which has reduced his food income. He killed a villager, which means he's a villager ahead. And he's done it with basically free resources. Bear in mind that this man-at-arms upgrade was free for Nicov once he hit the feudal age because of the civ bonus giving him 100 food and gold as he advances. So I feel like Nikov's in a strong position. He's got the map control right now, but on the flip side of that, Viper has scouts. They're much faster, and they're well equipped to deal with the archers, which Nikov's sending across the map now.
Yeah, Nicov has to be very careful with these archers. He's sending them one by one, and the scouts can pick them off. I think it might have been better for Nicov to mass them a little bit more, but what I like is that Nicov is keeping Viper back at home. Viper's saying, hey, I can't afford to go out right now. Well, as he does go out, he's going to find something he likes, though.
he does get an archer, but immediately, though, he's being harassed on the berries again. So, you know, it's kind of like a risk versus reward kind of thing. The scouts are good in the fact that they are fast. They can counterattack very quickly. And he will actually find himself an archer here as well. But Nicov now adding in more spearmen here. He wants to make sure that Viper has to stay at home. And he's going to do that with these spearmen coming into the fight too. Viper, though, is up to, I think, 5 scouts now. And he should be adding more. But he's housed. He's population blocked. That means no production. That's going to cost him.
It is going to cost him. And guys, how many times have we seen this? Viper on the back foot while someone else takes it to him. I have not seen this in a long time. Nicov has done this more than once now. And credit where credit is due. He's massing the archers. I like the fact that he sent the spears forward because that's going to help with the scouts.
Yeah,
but Viper has his own range and Blacksmith, and the scouts are going out as the army comes in now from Nicov.
Yeah, and then the question is, does Viper immediately turn back around, or does he commit to the counterattack? He's going to judge this based on what he can see, but with the archers here, it's really dangerous. These archers are great at killing villagers, and Viper responds by adding some skirms now as well from this archery range on the left side. Of course, we also get to see the fantastic Indian architecture in this one as well, which I'm personally a massive fan of, but focusing a bit more on the action, Viper continuing to add scouts. And this is what we were saying earlier with the Indians' eco bonus. They're able to boom or build their eco and go quite heavily into military. And this could give Viper a small edge now if he gets a good number of scouts and skirms together. This is a very strong combination versus Nikov's army here.
Yeah, I'm going to ask Nilly what he thinks of this in a second, but I notice Viper is continuing to create scouts, as you said, one range skirmishers, and the skirmishers do have fletching.
Which Nicov does not. He's doing fletching now.
Yeah, I feel like Nicov he's done a little bit of harassment, but he has to be very careful versus these scouts and skirmishers. Nilly, do you think Nicov is overcommitting here?
I think it's fine to keep up the aggression. He can take nice fights. The only problem was how many archers he lost without really fighting. And one time he was in with the M&A in the wood line, but decided to go back to not trade 2 villagers against his 3 M&A and to keep up the big army. So he wants to keep the threat real, and let's see how the Viper will react. The main problem why this aggression is so strong was because the Viper simply didn't scout it. He was so surprised to see the M&A, and that's why he had such a very nervous reaction early Feudal Age.
Yeah, I would go on to say as well, though, that Viper was trying to counterattack with the scouts, but he's coming in from the back now. This could be a great fight for Viper, and of course, Nicov has to be very careful here. If he gets outnumbered and pushed back, he can't run. He can't outrun the scout cavalry, so he risks losing his entire army. And Viper, he is going to take that fight. Nikov's going to try to run back, but he is massively outnumbered, and he's going to lose everything here as he runs back to this hill. The scouts are very low, actually, so maybe not everything.
Yeah.
But it's a huge loss for Nicov there. And yeah, those patrol... He notice how he patrolled his units and they ran towards the Viper before running away. That is a common... well, not mistake, but it's not even a bug, really. It's just the way that patrol works.
Happens.
It just happens, and that caused him to lose a couple more archers there. Viper took a great fight, and that was exactly what he was looking for. He's now back on the counter-offensive, and Nicov could be in big trouble.
Well, you'll see skirmishers and 1 scout that's on full HP coming across. I don't know if Nicov will be too worried about this, but he might need to think about what he's going to be doing with his archers from here on out. A lot of skirmishers on the map for Viper. Things have switched. Viper now has all of the map control, and he's walking down this hill. But Nicov has set his base up perfectly for this. He's walling up almost the entire base. But it's not easy to stay inside this base for long because you don't have many resources.
No. That's the problem. This map is so much about map control. I mean, Nicov has got a better map than Viper to play defensively with, due to the fact he has got a little bit more wood inside here. But Viper could essentially starve him out. And also, I want to add, Viper has the +1 defense on these skirmishers. And Nicov at this stage is 100% into archers right now. He would like to get to the Castle Age and upgrade these guys to crossbow, but Viper's here, and he's looking to harass him as much as he can. And of course, that's going to come in on this left-hand side of Nikov's base, going into that wood line with the skirmishers now.
Play at this level hinges on small little moments. Like Nilly was saying, a couple archers thrown away, maybe contributed to Nicov losing those archers later on. You never know. I see an early stable from Nicov, but it looks like he's holding out for the Castle Age, like Zach said. I don't know if he's going to be throwing out scouts. Now, if he had 4 scouts here and all of the archers, I think he could have taken this fight, but he made the decision to wait for the Castle Age. We'll see if that's a decision he will regret.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake for Nicov actually was... I think it was overcommitting here. I know Nupford said, okay, it's great to keep the aggression up, and in a lot of cases it certainly is, but he risks losing so much if he takes a bad fight, and we saw that. He tried to retreat, and he just got cut down. Because he was too far away from home, he couldn't just retreat inside of his walls. He couldn't have the defender's advantage where the reinforcements would come a little bit faster and perhaps help him to hold the line. What we saw was a massacre, and Viper now is in a great position. However, it looks like to me he's committing more to making scouts. He's got 4 scouts at home. He's got more skirmishers. Maybe this Castle Age time from Viper will be delayed because of that. And Nicov is on the way up to the Castle Age now, and the second stable is coming up as well.
Yeah, I was going to say, we were talking about the small little mistakes from Nicov, but I don't know why Viper chose to waste the resources on more scouts. Probably for the map control we spoke of. But keep in mind, he went for the scout upgrades. He went for the skirmisher upgrades. He's created a lot of skirmishers as well. If you're making skirmishers, that hurts your food count. You're creating archers, it does not hurt your food count. So it doesn't slow down your Castle Age time. There are 2 stables for Nicov, and he actually, if he keeps his archers alive, I think he's going to want to use those.
I want to add as well.
He's going to be in a great position here.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you there. I just want to add as well. Viper doing bloodlines now as well. That's costly, and he could have clicked up to the Castle Age maybe 3 minutes ago if he hadn't done these techs. He's done the +1 defense, +1 defense on the scouts, bloodlines, +1/+1 on the skirms, and Nikov's going to be castle any second. What do you think is going to happen next, Nopford?
The Viper needs to keep on the pressure here. His skirms and his scouts won't do much in, basically all Castle Age and Imperial Age, so just keep them at the front of Nicov, put on some pressure, sacrifice them, buy some time, and then do a smart switch into probably mangonels and archers of your own.
Yeah, but don't you think that now Nicov is castle with the knights and the crossbows? Let's not forget the Ethiopians as well. Faster firing rate on those archers. With Bodkin arrow as well as the crossbow upgrade, I think he can take the fight to the Viper very easily here, even though he's got a lot of skirmishes in this army. Also, let's not forget, Viper split his army here as well. So if Nicov is able to attack one army at a time with his whole army, it could be huge. Though let's not forget, Viper's in at the back now, and Nikov's responding.
Yeah, I think Viper's actually doing exactly what he should be doing here. He's just trying to distract. These knights, which are so strong, are just attacking scouts, just because the scouts just busted through those walls. Also, the skirmishers getting some great hits on Nikov's crossbows, and Viper was waiting for that right in front of the ranges. So right now, Viper is actually suffocating Nicov before Nicov can push out. And what civilization is Viper? What is Viper good at that Nikov's throwing out at him as he's almost at the Castle Age, Zach?
Well, Viper's certainly very good at booming, that's for sure. But he's also very good at camels. Yeah, I was going to say camels.
Yeah.
And that's obviously going to counter the knights incredibly well. Now, I think Nicov made a small mistake on this right side, and that was chasing the scouts rather than chasing the skirmishers. He actually could have killed these skirms off, while the scouts actually just baiting him around now. Nicov retaking some map control, but exactly as you said, Nikov's fantastic at camels. The Viper is fantastic at camels. He gets +1/+1 attack and defense for free, and that's going to be a great counter to this. Although let's also remember here, Nikov's a good archer civ, and Nicov can keep making crossbows, which are going to be fairly decent versus camels as well.
Yeah, it's a really interesting mix, I think. The fact that we have a good camel civ, but then Nicov can always stop the knights and go into crossbows to counter those camels. Really good for Nicov that he stopped this stable for Viper at 91%. And Zach, just to make sure we're at the same time, I'm at 28-10 now.
Okay, I'm at 28-14 when you said that, so I think we're really close.
Yeah,
this is
so
good.
We're fine.
Yeah, Viper feeling the heat. This stable's actually getting a little low, and it looks like Nikov's committing all the knights to try and bring this stable down. Now, Viper with the Elite Skirmisher upgrade and Bodkin Arrow, and that's actually great because it allows him to try and counter these crossbows as well, which, as we know, will be quite strong against these camels. Viper, for now, just trying to group the camels inside the stable, but you see how quickly those camels go down to the crossbow. Nicov, especially since he has the extra firing speed, is going to take advantage of this, and he's got a hill here to fall back to if he needs that.
That villager went down again. The stable's at 98%.
Still.
He desperately needs to get this up.
That's crazy. Now, this is going to come down. I mean, this is interesting because both players counter each other. Viper's knights counter the skirms. Viper's crossbows counter the camels counter the knights, and the skirmishers counter the crossbow. It's really interesting, but Viper coming from the back with these skirms now. How's this fight going to go? It looks like it's going really badly for the Viper as these camels get taken down, and Viper loses his skirmishers to the knights from Nicov. Once again, Nicov keeping this aggression up, and it's worked out really well this time.
Nikov's micro is on point there. He's just ducking and dodging, or however you say it, Zach. I'm not as good as you are with that phrase. I don't even remember it. But whatever that is, he was doing a great job of picking off those camels. But the camels, I think, as the crossbows go down, will be stronger here, and Viper might take this back.
It's such a back and forth fight, and we've spoke about this so many times, the defender's advantage. The fact that Viper can reinforce this army much quicker than Nicov can. You see the units, they're running across the map, but they just weren't there in time, and now Viper has the edge once again. It's dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge from Nicov.
That's it. That's it. There we go.
He actually took a great fight. I mean, he used his knights to deal with the skirms, and he used his crossbow to deal with the camels, but all in all, Viper was able to, as we say, reinforce a little faster, and now there's no crossbows left. Viper can take the fight to Nicov. What a back and forth game we have here.
Yeah, it's back and forth for sure, and all the while, Nicov is actually going up with more town centers. He's putting up his 4th on the front now.
Yeah.
So Viper actually is at risk of falling behind with economy, and we talked about his map earlier. He's putting up a new TC. That's not a great location for the rest of his eco throughout this game. He doesn't have a lot of wood left. He's going to need to push forward, I think, for some wood.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. If he goes for 2 TCs, in theory, he should be able to produce more military and be more aggressive.
Yeah.
And that means he should be able to take more map control and then later on grab some wood in the center of the map. Nicov adding 4 TCs, though. Do you think maybe this is an overcommitment from Nicov, Nipford, with the 4th TC? Or do you think it's more like a protective TC?
It absolutely isn't protective TC. The thing is, the Viper now has skirms and camels. Not the most scary army ever when it comes to killing villagers. I think if Nicov simply goes for a defensive siege workshop or just keeps up a slight production of expos and knights, he should have a very easy hold. I think the Viper now needs to decide, do I go 2 extra TCs or like 4 in total and don't build any more army, or do I really try to push the issue now and try to end it within the next 10 minutes? Because if he just camps at home with 3 TCs, he will lose the game for sure.
Well, this is the thing. Viper, as you said, he's not really got the units that are great at attacking. These are counter units. Skirmishers and camels, they're a little cheaper to create, but they're not great on the offense. They're really just defensive. Now, Viper's just added in his 3rd TC, I think, here on the front. It's not a great location, but it's very difficult to place the town center on these hills. I would also add that both players are looking for a castle. Nicov and Viper sending a lot of villagers to stone now, and I think that's just so they can help control the center of the map a little more. We also see the defensive siege workshop from Nicov coming out, and both players adding a monastery to grab some relics, with Nicov grabbing that first relic there. Also just want to highlight that fantastic monastery from the Indians. It looks so nice. Not really very monastery shaped though.
Take my spot, Nilly, for the remainder of this game. I'm going to have to step away for a bit. So, Zach, continue. I will be back for the next game. Sorry.
All right. Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Yeah, so as we said, Viper here, really defensive units, counter units. But let's not forget, these camels, for the Viper, they do have an extra +1 defense on the melee and pierce armor, which means that they could be a little better at raiding than other civilizations making camels. But I think we're going to see a fight now as Nicov pushes up this hill. Viper will have the hill advantage. A lot of camels here. A couple of monks as well to try and convert the knights. But I think Viper might be a little bit cautious engaging this. Nicov does have a great unit composition in this army. There come the monks. Here come the knights, and they're backing up as the conversions start to come in, and we start to see the fight now. The camel is just going to break the line here. Nicov wants to bring his crossbows to the back. He's retreating them away. The camel is getting really intermingled with these knights, and I think Viper's going to take this fight with the hill. He immediately brings down the mangonel, and pushes forward. Nicov falling right back now as he tries to build a defensive castle here to protect this town center and the front section of his base. Viper with a huge army. These camels going to be doing great damage versus the knights. And as we've said already, with the extra pierce armor, they are going to be a little more effective against these crossbows. Nicov losing so much, but the castle, it's going to come up in time for these camels to be pushed away. But is it too late? Has Nicov already lost too much? That's the question that I want to throw to Nilfgaard right now.
Well, Nicov was ahead by 25 villagers before that engagement, and he just needed to chill, like I said before. Defensive siege workshop, maybe some monks, keep your expo knights, but he was greedy, wanted to go for the kill, wanted to get the castle up in the middle, and got heavily punished by a very nice timing here by the Viper. Still, Nicov has more villagers, now has a defensive castle, has the better units in the long run, and I still think the Viper killed all the army, but he needs to go for villager kills as well now.
Yeah, and that's what's so difficult with these camels. We see it here, Nicov just jumping into the TC. It is very defensive now from Nicov, but I have to say, with that castle, he did certainly protect himself a little more. I am a little concerned though. Viper now does have the hill. He is in a very offensive position with this, and both players are going up to the Imperial Age. Nicov with a slight edge, 127 population to Viper's 97. I still think Nicov has a great shot at this one, provided he can keep control of the map, because he's got a much larger economy. And he's also starting to add some Shotells. I like this from him, and I would like to see more of those Shotel warriors to potentially do some raiding as this game goes on.
The thing is, the Viper will play a pure arena style now. 20 villages behind, he will take the hill, which is not typical arena, but in this case, we'll put 2 castles and we'll go for full trap war. One thing that is actually going pretty poorly for Nicov is he's out of gold spots pretty soon. He only has 500 gold left and needs to expand to the right-hand side where camels are camping, or needs to go to the very north or south side. But at the moment, he is not really expanding, and the Viper might put on the stranglehold here.
Yeah, that's the thing. That this stranglehold, like you say, I would describe it exactly like that as well. He is able to just take this center map control, and it's very difficult to push against that, especially when you start getting into a Treb war, because Trebs on a hill are going to be 25% more effective, and Trebs on the bottom of the hill are going to be 25% less effective. It's a huge advantage for Viper to have, and he's going to be feeling very good about his position here, even if perhaps he's a little behind in economy at this stage of the game. Let's not forget, though, even though Viper might be behind in economy, his villagers have cost him a lot less throughout the duration of this game, only costing 40 food in the Castle Age. Oh, I think even less, actually. I think it was 38 food, maybe, in the Castle Age. They're certainly very cheap, and Viper now, as a result of that, actually has a lot more resources in the bank compared to Nicov. So Nicov hits Imperial, Viper's going to hit Imperial any second now as well, and what we're seeing from Nicov here is a lot of these Shotel warriors. I'm interested by this decision because they're not really going to be great going toe-to-toe, I think, with Viper's army. But, I mean, let's see. It's hard to know because we just haven't really seen these unit combinations much before.
The Viper lost so much time with building the second castle. He is now up to 1k stone, still not the castle being built yet. And I think he should have 2 traps already in production, should wall his castle at the front against the rams, and it feels like Nicov can kill that castle, and if he gets back that hill, it's looking pretty damn good for him.
Actually, you're so right here. Viper isn't prepared for this attack, and oh my god, the trebuchet at the back could go down. Viper has got a couple of monks here, though, but in comes a Shotel warrior. I think Viper might lose his trebuchet. It's so close. The monk not able to get the last conversion on the knight. That's a real problem for Viper here. On the front, Nicov with the trebuchet and the capped rams already bringing this castle low. And Viper, what's he doing? He's doing conscription right now. No more trebuchets coming out for the Viper here. There's no second castle yet. As you said, he was really late putting that down. And Nicov could potentially get this castle, but as we said already, he is fighting uphill. It is going to be a hard fight to take that down, but losing that trebuchet could be game-changing for the Viper. At least he's got the conscription upgrade, which means that all of his units are now going to produce a little bit faster, and he can start entering the Treb War very soon. But Nicov, at this stage, 2 trebuchets to 0. I'm feeling a little concerned here. Nicov might be able to push out.
Yeah, I think it will not really go into a trap war. I think the Viper will pretty soon switch on to bombard cannons only. Maybe 1 or 2 traps, then the castle will go down. The Viper knows he will never hold that castle, but simply repairing it.
Buying time.
Exactly. And that's so good for him now, because he's still heavily behind when it comes to population.
Yeah, Nicov right now on 156, whilst Viper is on 120, but he's making this tech switch into hand cannons and bombard cannons. That is his late game army composition. The Indians do have good hand cannons. If I'm not mistaken, they get an extra 1 range from their unique technology, which is very nice. And let's not forget that Nikov's already showed his hand a little bit here by showing these Shotel warriors to the Viper, meaning that these hand cannons will be a good counter to that unit. Viper stalling out, buying time by repairing the castle. It is going to fall eventually, but I think Nicov now might have a hard time pushing into this because of the hand cannons on the hill doing so much damage to these very squishy units, actually.
Yeah, they have only 40 HP, and remember, hand cannoneer does 17 damage, so 3 shot and it's done for a Shotel warrior. And yeah, that's not very nice, obviously. And now bombard cannons even killing the traps here. Maybe the Viper can't even hold this castle on the hill. And if he increases to buy time here, this might be even the Viper's game.
It could be. Arbalest coming in for Ethiopians as well, though. The Arbalest are a good counter to the hand cannons. The Shotel's coming forwards, but Viper on the hill with those hand cannons. My god, those Shotel warriors just melting away. You said they do 17 damage, but they actually do 27 because they have a 10 hidden bonus attack versus infantry, which means that 2 shots from a hand cannon is enough to take a Shotel down, plus the hill bonus. This is actually looking really bad for Nicov right now. Viper still has this castle. He lost the, Nicov lost the trebuchet on the right here due to the fact that that bombard cannon came in, and he's looking like he's got nothing to fight this. Where's Nikov's army at? It's all well and good.
Castle range now for the Viper as well. And yeah, where is his army? Indeed, it's only Arbalest now, and I think maybe Nicov should have went for something like, I think a push with Rams in early Imperial Age would have been a bit better. He had the better eco, and he's going into war like trap walls, castles. It can't get much better when you have a hill. If you can decide like, okay, I have a hill, what war do we want to go into? It's absolutely a trap war with castles as a defense.
Yeah, and you know, this is the thing for Viper. These hand cannons now with +1 range as well, thanks to the Indian unique technology. So nice. Viper coming in here, going to be trying to deny this castle. It will go up as Nicov brings most of his villagers there to complete it. And those Shotels at the back, they're just melting. They can't do anything here. I really feel like what you said before was really on point, actually. The best thing for Nicov might have actually been a ram rush, because the hand cannons and the skirms would have been terrible at dealing with the rams. And the Ethiopians have fantastic siege. Let's not forget that. The Ethiopians, with their torsion engines technology, have some of the best siege in the game. And right now, Nicov hasn't even considered any siege units apart from these trebuchets. So I feel like Viper here, not necessarily making any bad decisions, but Nicov is the one who's just not really using his civilization to its strength, I feel.
Yeah, and remember, like I said before, Nicov was out of gold the last 7 to 8 minutes. He heavily abused the market. It's only now going for the gold spot in the south, and therefore lost a huge amount of resources. Market prices are close to being at the bottom, and yeah, it's just super tough if you lose so many resources just to build an army to hold. That's what.
Yeah, and the thing is, Shotels, he's still making more Shotels. They're getting converted as well here by Viper's monks. He's just converted 3 of them as they try and do a counter-attack. He's, of course, looking to do some raiding, which is what this unit was built for, but Viper sees it coming. He's moving his hand cannons over. There's no way Nikov's getting through here because he has a full stone wall, and he's running headlong into those hand cannons. Those Shotels are just going to get melted by that army as they try and run away. Now, Viper has so much great map control. He's held this hill the whole game, which means he has great access to wood. He's got the extra gold spots in the corners of the map. And as you said, Nicov here does not have really reliable gold. He's just got this one gold mine on the left side, and that is not reliable, really, as the game goes on. He's also now having to deal with Hussar raiding from the Viper, and I think that could spell the end for Nicov if he's unable to deal with those Hussars.
Yeah, and now the first time that Viper is actually leading population, and Nicov, if you go into his point of view with Fog of War, he didn't even scout the right-hand side gold all this game long, and the Viper is just beautifully taking fights from the hill down for the last 15 minutes. That one engagement early Imperial Age or late Castle Age, we really have to put our finger onto that and think that that's when Nicov might have thrown the game.
Yeah, I completely agree, actually. Viper here just really making use of this hill, and this is one of the longest games we've actually seen on this map, so it's nice to see some like post-Imperial aggression. But you're so right, Nicov here really going to be feeling strangled. He's being attacked from all sides. Hussar raiding on the right side at this stone mine. His castle here going down to the Treb on the hill, and there's no way he can push into this army of hand cannons either. It's really rough, and we've even got the monks behind this to heal up as well. This is just so good from the Viper right now. Nicov getting absolutely flattened, and if you're Nicov right now, you're just feeling pressure from all sides, and you feel like there's just no escape. You can't get up this hill, and you just can't stop this army from the Viper. Well played to him. Nikov's going to call GG, and with that, Nikov's going to be, well, dropping out of the tournament.
What? I'm back, by the way.
And yeah, that's depressing for Nicov here. He basically won the best of 1 before, then very nice sportsmanship to agree to go for best of 3. Unfortunate Bog Islands game, and now he had the win like at early Feudal Age. He had such a big advantage, mid Castle Age as well, and even now going into Imperial Age, if he went for the side ram attack, he just could have smashed the Viper there, but just poor decision making when it came to army composition and deciding where to take fights. And the Viper doing everything right, holding in a very tough situation, later on investing into army when he could do damage, then going to Imperial Age very early on with low eco, because he knew if I hold this hill, I can maybe do the comeback. And yeah, beautiful execution.
I think Nicov could have done a better job to get onto the hill, and I think he had the possibility or the opportunity to actually get onto the hill this game. He just sadly, I think, gave that to the Viper, well, the hill anyway, not the game, but he gave the hill to the Viper. With the hill, obviously, Viper was able to just hold that castle. I can't believe he kept that castle up the whole game after losing his first Treb, Nicov having 2 Trebs on it, and Rams. So, well played to the Viper there. He will take this, and we're going to come out of this game now and show you guys the bracket so you can see how this one looks. As we see, Nicov will be falling out of the tournament. He will be finishing in 4th place. And let's not forget, this is a $3,000 tournament, so there is a lot of money on the line. Nicov will secure himself $300 from that prize pool. Viper will move on to the lower bracket finals, where he will meet the loser of Slam versus Doubt. Those guys are going to be coming up next. We're going to play a very short advert. We will be back in just